Hey everyone, my name is Ahmed and welcome back to FPL Clue for another video. It's time to do a game week preview video for game week 6. Please stick around until the end of the video as there are plenty of topics to cover. And also please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And without any further ado, let's jump into the video. So let's start off with the first double game week of the season, which is happening in game week 7, where Luton Town plays Everton away and Burnley at home, and Burnley play Newcastle away and Luton away. So now the question is, should we go ahead and bring some players from these two teams? Most of you might already have started your season with the likes of Kabori of Luton Town or Bear of Burnley as your 4 million defender, because Luton's double game week fixtures are great, looking great on paper, so maybe the likes of Carlton Morris might also interest you. So you can go for him for a 1 week punt, or even if you're going a week early in game week 6, they will also play against Wolves, which is a decent fixture. And the other interesting option was Foster from Burnley, but because he has got the red card, so he will be suspended for game week 6 and the first game of the double game week in game week 7. So he has been ruled out as an option, and they have 2 away fixtures anyways. So I think if you have Bayer or if you have Kabori, you can play them in game week 7, and that's what I will do because I have Kabori. And also, if your team doesn't have any problem elsewhere, and if you want to do a forward transfer, then I think Carlton Morris might be an option for you. And that's what I'm even looking, but let's see what happens until game week 7 deadline. So as you guys all know that the European competition is back, so here are the Premier League teams that are playing in the Champions League and Europa League. So if you're making your transfers, be mindful of the possible rotations from these teams from now until mid-December, when the European group stage ends. So the teams that are playing in the Champions League are Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal and Newcastle. And Europa League teams are Liverpool, Brighton and West Ham. So Pep Guardiola might do lots of rotations between the Premier League and the Champions League games. And not only the Champions League, Carabao Cup is also being played during this period. So then we will also see possible rotations for the cup games as well. So apart from Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Brighton are also the teams that we might see lots of rotations. And if you're looking for Newcastle attackers because of their good run of fixtures, there might be lots of rotations there as well. So these teams will do lots of rotation, especially Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has mentioned that they have 2 best options in every positions, so we can expect lots of rotations there. So the only team that we worry less about the rotation from FPL point of view is Manchester United, which I will talk about their players later in the video. But other than that, I think we can expect some rotations for every team in every position. Julian Alvarez is the most transferred in player. He has been transferred in by nearly 600k managers at the time of recording. And here are a few key talking points about him. And the first one is it late to go for him? And the answer is no. Of course, it might have been much better if you have gone for him earlier in the season. You might have banked those points. But even now, it's not late. So most of the people have opted to go for Jackson in game week 3. And because I have Salah in my team, so I started my season with João Pedro. And in game week 3, I couldn't afford Jackson or Alvarez, so I went for Wissa. So coming back to the question, no, it's still not late. The next 2 games are very decent. Is Champions League gonna have an impact in his minutes? I don't think so. Especially KDB is injured and they have lots of other injuries in their midfield. I think Alvarez is still nailed to play until those injuries are back, and then probably we will possibly see some reduced minutes or some rotations for Alvarez. But as things stands, I think his names will be in the starting 11 for the upcoming game weeks to come. So here are some stats of the Alvarez. He has been played every Premier League game this season, and all of them he played 90 minutes, and also he played 90 minutes in the Champions League as well. So he actually is overperforming his XG and especially his expected assists. He has 7 returns in the past 5 games, 2 goals and 5 assists. Salah is also a talking point for this game week. After his 10 pointers in Game Week 5, most of the managers are bringing him in. So let's have a look into a few of his stats. So he also started all 5 games. Of course, he is nailed. He has good underlying numbers, and he had 6 attacking returns in the last 5 games, 2 goals and 4 assists. So here are a few key talking points about the Salah move. Of course, he is a decent option in any given game week, but his next 2 fixtures are just not as good. It's okayish. And maybe if you have other problems in your team, it's better to focus on those instead of bringing Salah in. But if you are on a wild card, then he is a must-have. But if you're bringing him in for a hit, it's not worth it because of the 2 fixtures. Instead, it's better to keep whoever midfielder that you have, roll your transfer, and bringing him in for the next game week. In game week 7, that way one of those fixtures are out of the way and you're more closer to easy fixture runs for Liverpool. And if you're taking hit to bringing him in because you want to captain him, he's again not a good captaincy shout until game week 9. I'm happy as a Salah owner to have him in my team, but if you don't have it, there is no rush to bring him in until game week 9. But if you're on a wild card, then I think Salah is a must include in your wildcard teams. What to do with your Manchester United assets? There are lots of fed up managers who have both Bruno and Rashford, who have only one of them with a goalkeeper or a defender. And Manchester United are underperforming game by games, and not only the fans, all the FPL managers who are having them in their team are upset with their performance. But honestly, they still have some easy run of fixtures, especially they have Burnley away in game week 6. So if you're planning to transfer him out, my opinion is to think again about it. Especially if you have Bruno or Rashford, I think they are potential holds. And also if you have the Manchester United goalkeeper, I don't think it's worth a transfer. Maybe the clean sheets are coming, so maybe you might regret the transfer. So it's better to keep your patience, keep calm, unless you have 2 free transfers and you want to upgrade, like let's say the Marcus Rashford to Mohamed Salah. That's a different story. But even if you see the next 3 game weeks, there's a high chance that Marcus Rashford or even Bruno Fernandes might outscore Salah because of the easy fixtures that they got. And Salah's fixtures are not very difficult but not very easy as well. And if for whatever reason you still have Luke Shaw in your team, then Luke Shaw to a Newcastle defender is a great transfer. But other than that, if you have Bruno or Rashford or Onana, I think it's better to hold them unless you are in a wild card and you want to build a fresh team. So the other talking point in Game Week 5 is Ben Chilwell. He was benched against Bournemouth in Game Week 5. So there is no need to panic about him. I think it's better to wait for more information like press conferences, and let's see what Pochettino says in the pre-game conference. He's not a priority to transfer out, but I think if you're fed up of the Chelsea defense or Chelsea performance in general, and you're not happy with your Chelsea assets, this is a good excuse to transfer him out. And because of the fixture swing for Newcastle, I think Newcastle defenders like Trippier, Fabian Schär or Botman are the great options to go for. But keep in mind that Chelsea still have some great fixtures until game week 8. If you want to hold him, that's up to you. But if you don't have Ben Chilwell, it's better to avoid him. It's better not to bring that headache of him being benched in your team. It wasn't a good week for Martinelli and Martinelli owners. He got injured just after his goal was ruled out for offside, and he came off for Trossard, who came in and scored the winning goal for Arsenal. So if you have Martinelli in your team, you can wait for more updates about the extent of his injury. But because the Arsenal fixtures are not as good, you can just transfer him out right away. And the possible replacements are Madison, Diaby, Eze, or James Ward-Prowse, or Doku. And on the other hand, all those managers who have Trossard in your team, I think it's finally time that Trossard might pay the reward for your patience. But the fixtures are not looking great. So if I had Martinelli in my team, I would have transferred them out right away. And that's it for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the content. Please leave a like to the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys again soon.
How it's supposed to feel.